One of the counselors said to us is they think it can heal brains because we are offering preventative measures and create neurosynapses to help the brain rewire from trauma, which is crazy stuff. So that's extreme. That's why all of this has been very overwhelming to me.
Startups with Stu is a podcast for anyone living or wanting to live the startup life, either as a founder or a team member. Your host, Stuart Draper, was a 9-time Inc. 5000 honoree before age 40. This show dives deep into the exhilarating world of entrepreneurship with guests that are seeking advice from Stu for their startup or business owners that want to share their entrepreneurial journey. Listeners always walk away with actionable ideas of what to do to take their startup to the moon. Startup life can feel like a roller coaster ride. And with Startups with Stu, you're likely to turn your roller coaster ride into a rocket ship ride. Get ready to uncover the secrets to startup success from visionary founders and savvy investors who've transformed groundbreaking ideas into thriving ventures.
This episode is brought to you today by PodUp. PodUp.com is the leading all-in-one AI-powered podcasting software. If you've ever considered having a podcast, want to get started, go to podup.com and check it out. I produce my podcast, use a variety of tools and producers that help me get everything done that I'm doing. Podallies.com is the agency I choose. If you're interested in having a podcast, you don't want to do it yourself through podup.com, I highly recommend that you go check out podallies.com and schedule a strategy call with one of their production specialists. They will be able to help you and think through everything you need to before you get started on your journey as a podcaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Startups with Stu. I am growing my hair out. This is a weird time, and I'm going to quickly share why. I am growing side hair because I don't grow a lot on the top, but because I'm trying to raise awareness for the Make-A-Wish Idaho organization, and they have an upcoming Walk for Wishes event, and I am going to be keynoting that event. So I'm really excited to be speaking and sharing some of my experience with Make-A-Wish. I love the organization and what they're about. If you're interested in donating, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love for you to join my team for the Walk for Wishes in Idaho Falls. And this is the year. 2025 is the year of the Stu Pay. So I am going to grow myself long side hair so I can put a toupee on top. You know, a lot of folks, to fight cancer and to be there for a friend going through the battle with cancer, they've shaved their head. For me, I didn't have any hair in the first place, so I'm growing mine out. Really excited to do that. And so, yeah, Make-A-Wish Idaho is a fun organization I'm a part of. I hope you'll come and participate with me and help me make some wishes come true for kids. And with that, today we have with us our special guest, Tami Hymas. She is a multi-time founder. She started a few different businesses with her husband, a total of 5 small businesses in small town Idaho. And she's here today to talk through with me some of her vision and some of her ideas, what her life mission is, and what she can do to really go much larger than she has in the past. So Tami, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Stu. I'm excited.
So Tami, tell me, what is it that you're like at the core? You have a mission and a vision of something you want to go do. You've been a hairdresser, had your own hair salon. Your husband's got the car business, selling cars. What is it that is making you step away from the chair, and what's driving you now?
Well, behind the chair, they call us therapist because we get to do all 5 love languages while we're making people feel beautiful, and they're sitting in a vulnerable position. So they would give us a lot of information, and I wanted us to be mentally healthy as they're standing behind the chair, because my industry, the beauty industry, is very individualized, very sexualized. It's very hurtful towards families. And so I brought counselors and people in to help us so that when we stood behind the chair, our words were healthy for families. And as I was doing that and building the salon and making protocol for everyone, I started seeing the value of understanding emotions and being able to make sure that our words were helpful for families and for others. And so with that, I started creating these characters to make the beauty world safe, because nothing's more offensive than asking a woman where her fat goes. So way back with Clippy in Microsoft, there would be that little paper clip that would go in the corner and tell you how to navigate things, right? So I started making these cartoon characters that represented emotion so that when we were navigating a website for the beauty world, it'd be safer. Well, I had this phenomenal chair of clients. And as I was showing them these characters that I was making, they started asking me to make those characters. And I had teachers and counselors and entrepreneurs and therapists, so many, like a wealth of knowledge in my chair. And what happened is I ended up giving up the chair and building out these characters full time with counselors, teachers, and psychologists, because they were that important. There's no ethnicity, and they represent every emotion in 12 characters.
Okay, so let me feed back to you what I'm gathering from this. There's a problem. The world has a problem. The problem is that we all have our struggles, and when we sit down in the chair to get our hair cut, I don't have a lot to cut, but when we sit down in that chair, there's this automatic feeling like, hey, I can open up about my life to this person that cuts my hair once a month, right? And so I honestly, all of a sudden, I'm going to this place of oh, every month I have an opportunity to have a free therapist, and you call them a hairapist. I love that. But the problem is, people that cut hair don't have life figured out themselves sometimes. And on top of that, they're not trained psychologists or therapists or counselors. And so all of a sudden they end up just giving whatever life advice they feel is right. And they're not wrong for trying. But there's a better way, right? You can solve that problem by helping a therapist learn the types of things they could be saying and sharing. I think that's outstanding. I see this is a problem for the world. This is a problem the world has. I don't know if the actual person cutting hair feels like they are a part of the problem or that they need to be a part of any solution, right? So sometimes you have something that's good for the world, but the people that are the buyers don't actually themselves feel the problem. Therefore, they don't want to put a lot of money into a solution for a problem they don't feel they have. So, let's talk through that. But before we do, I have a question for you. Tell me about these characters you've created. Are they characters you read about in a book? Are they characters you learn about in a training you go through? Tell me more about that.
Yes, these 12 characters are body organs and natural phenomenon made, and they look safe for children. And we've used it to help with autism. And right now it's at the Juvenile Correction Center, helping children there identify, because their generations don't understand the emotions, but they're very simple. We use the rainbow, and they are very deep in their concepts, but they're very easy to look at, and they're intuitive. So they're called the InUPowers, and their names represent something. So my hollow tornado, his name is Wham. What about me? And he's that vampire that sucks all your energy away because he's always spewing blame and shame and never taking accountability. The energy suckers. So that would be a Wham emotion. And so these characters help kind of call out what we're feeling, which actually helps us.
Yeah. Oh, definitely helps us to be able to understand and process what we're feeling and going through. So you mentioned body organs, and then you were talking tornadoes. So it sounds like for the kids, there's a certain set of characters you've developed, and then for adults, a different set of characters. Can you, maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but can you give me an example from an adult character?
Well, the characters are for adults and children alike. They look a little bit more like Mickey Mouse and those kind of cartoons. And the WHAM, the reactives, are all storms. So there's 6 storms that represent every hurtful emotion in our human family. And there's 6 body organs that represent all the personal principle-based lessons that we need in our life, like the light in our eyes, or the wisdom of our brain, or compassion and acceptance of our heart, or our gut intuition. So those body organ characters represent things that we already have as humans. And what we have is stories. And what we did is just finish the program with our counselors, psychologists, and teachers, and are baiting it. And we're working on the classroom material for preventative stuff as well.
Oh, this is outstanding. Okay, so
It's so big.
In part, it's an education curriculum that can be used, and you can sell educational curriculum for sure. That's an option, but there's other ways, right, that you can grow and have success and get this message to the world. You mentioned to me earlier that you've written a book. Does the book have anything to do with this, with the characters?
Yes. Each character has a storyline that teaches principle-based lessons.
Is there already a place where our listeners can go and get this book?
Right now, they can get the program online at InUPowers.com. And that is a book, and it's the online digital material. We just got it done May 1st. And
InUPowers is spelled INYOU?
Y in the letter U, Powers. So
IN the letter U and then powers.com.
That's correct.
InUPowers.com. Okay, so if you want to go and learn more, that's where you can go check out what Tami has developed. Awesome.
Well, I knew what I was. I know I'm a hairdresser. I know I'm an entrepreneur. And so I needed to bring the expertise and the brilliance that come with everybody else. And so that is what I've done. I've collected, and that's why it's taken so long, because I didn't know what I didn't know, which is a lot.
Yeah, when you get started as a founder, folks, you learn quickly that you don't know what you don't know until all of a sudden you get asked questions and you're like, I haven't figured that out yet. But what founders do is they keep going and they find a way. They don't let it stop them. So many folks that give up on entrepreneurship, the reason they do is because they get hit with questions. They get stopped by barriers, and then they stop. They don't keep finding a way. Founders keep finding a way. So Tami, so far, what have you tried to get the word out? It sounds like you're already in the juvenile detention center, which means you've got some pilot testers, people using it. What's the feedback they're giving you? And then what other things have you been trying to get going?
Well, the feedback has been that it helps. We've helped more than that. We've helped abroad and stuff at betas. So survivors, we've helped with them, and some autistic children that have struggles with nonverbal. So we've been baiting it in different places, and we just finished the program because of the information we got from them. The feedback is, honestly, one of the counselors said to us is they think it can heal brains, because we are offering preventative measures and create neuro synapses to help the brain rewire from trauma, which is crazy stuff. So that's extreme. That's why all of this has been very overwhelming to me. I'm like, I was a hairdresser. But now what we've done is a podcast, and we got the website up on May 1st. And now I'm talking to you to get help. And I've reached out to leaders and people that I've known. I've gone to, I live in a town where BYU, Idaho is. And so I've talked to professors, and then I have other friends that are professionals, and I've asked them. And then we went to the state to talk to the senators and the congressmen as well.
Wow. Fantastic. You are definitely not sitting still. That's a true sign of a veteran entrepreneur that knows that you have to kiss a lot of frogs, try a lot of different things, and talk to a lot of different people to see what opportunities arise. And you're doing this not because you have to have more money. You've already got 5 different businesses and things rolling that's paying the bills and earning a decent, good income. I'm sure a great income. And so let's talk about that for a second. You feel obviously very guided and directed to be doing this work.
I absolutely,
if there's money, great. If it can go big, from a financial perspective, great. But really, I feel like God needs me to tell the world. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. This is more than a business. This is a mission. Because once we recognize that we have all the superpowers within ourselves to get through any storm, and once we realize that we are the superheroes of every story, and as soon as we take the time to get out of our way, we have the ability to change the world. And the world needs what we are becoming. And because the world needs what we are becoming, I can't give up on this. I've watched little children be able to tell their moms and dads things that they weren't able to express because they didn't have the diction for it. I've listened to teachers tell me they've had the most profound moments in their classroom because of a character named Sue, severe unraveling event, or our tsunami. She's trauma. She changes your landscape forever. I've heard stories from survivors that say, I have hope after egregious things have happened to them. So I have to do this. And now I'm to that space where the program's finished, AI is available, so we can now create the characters in AI like we want. And it's time to get the word out. Not just me, my team and I need to teach the world that they matter and that they're beautiful and that we can make a difference.
Yes, 100%. And amen to that. It throws me back to the early days at Stu Camp when I just felt like, no matter what, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is me and what I have been sent here to this earth to accomplish. And as I hear you say that and see the conviction in your face and eyes, it makes me so excited to watch you go and do it, because when you're that guided, it's bound to be a success at the level it's meant to be. For me, when I think about founders to invest in, I'm looking for the ones that have this level of deep passion, that like nothing's going to hold them back. Nothing's going to stop them. And so if fundraising becomes something for you, I'm sure that the way you share your passion and mission, that's going to help you raise money. It's not the only thing that matters. There's a lot of other things that also matter, but that will definitely help. Not just pre-seed angel investors, but even when you get to a stage of private equity, those investors as well want to see that you as a founder are someone who is mission driven. And because usually what happens is it means you've built a cool team that's also excited about your mission. So good work there. I think that's like going to keep you going when things get hard. And so founders, if you're listening in and you're like, maybe I buy a franchise, I think I'm going to buy a like ice cream cone franchise. Okay, awesome. When things get hard, are you going to stay passionate about ice cream? And if so, because you feel like I need to go and gather people for ice cream, like I need to make people happy with ice cream, like awesome. That has worked so well for Reed's Dairy in my hometown of Idaho Falls. Those guys have brought together so many families and friends together for a scoop of ice cream and a good time there at their dairy. And so I've always loved and appreciated that from the Reed family. And by the way, I don't even know them individually. I just know what they do. So if we love this mission, we want to go make this happen. I feel, by the way, really guided. Like the Startups with Stu show, people have asked me, like, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, I don't know, other than like, I feel like I should. And I love helping founders because I've had success and I kind of want to go to find the people that are where I was 10 years ago and make it so they can do it in 5 years because of some of the advice I can share. And so I hope if you're tuning in that you're going, yeah, this is definitely, listening to this show is helping me get further down the road faster with my startup. So let's talk about your startup. Today, what's the business model? Have you made any money yet with it, or has it all been about trying things out and letting people use it for free?
Very little money. Like when we knew that the program was done, we went to a play therapy conference and sold a few to our first counselor testers. And then we sold the program to a couple facilities, but we are very, very, very beginning of actually selling the program. I thought I was ready to launch a lot of times and it wasn't quite ready. Nothing like pretending to launch to find out you didn't get it yet.
Right? Yeah. No, I hear you. So, as it relates to making money and why that matters, okay, Tami doesn't really care that much about the money. That's my personal opinion. Maybe I'm reading you wrong, Tami, but for me, if you've spent as many hours as you have building and developing these characters and working on it and talking to so many people and going to Congress, and you've still yet to make very much money, yet you have 5 other businesses that are making money, it tells me that this is less about the money and more about the mission, right? And that's awesome. Here's the thing that over time, every founder has to learn. Money is the lifeblood of your ability to fulfill your mission.
Right.
So at some point, family and friends start going, hey, Tami, this isn't worth it. Why are we working so hard? We want to help you. We want to support you. Why are you working so hard if it's not making money? And you keep asking me for help, but you don't pay me. And if you don't pay me, then I don't want to keep helping you with your mission. And it's not because they don't love you, they don't love your mission. It's because the world works on money. It needs money. And I had a chance to work with a partner once, and he told me I was greedy. He's like, Stu, all you're in this for is the money. And he said also, like, you always want to talk about how much money the business has made this year instead of how many students we've helped. And I said, but the fact is, the more money we've made, the more students we've helped, and the more people I can pay to help me go help more students. Exactly. So they go together. And I hope that if there's one lesson everyone learns today as it relates to finances in a business, they are the lifeblood of it. Go and make sure you've figured out a business model as quickly as you can. Prove that there is a business model, because that's what allows you to keep going. When you're trying to go big, and this is a reason Tami came on the show today, was she's like, I've done the small business thing. I've done local community business. I know what that takes. What do I do to go bigger and to reach a broader audience, more global audience? And so that's why I bring this up and why we're going to talk about it today, because you're going to need money. It's really hard to bootstrap a business that's not a local business. Now, it does happen, usually not in anything that's educational. In the ed tech space, really hard. So today we've made a little bit of money, not much. Are you selling it so far? When you've made money, is it selling it as a one-time payment for everyone to use, or has it been for individual students paying for their licenses to access the program? How's that part work?
So far up to now, but we want to change the model. It was a one-time purchase for the license for that student, and then they could use the program, because we are doing it in steps because of everything we had to develop to make sure it was healthy and right and research-based and all of that stuff. So, but we would like to have a subscription model and make it so that parents and families could sit together, see a little cartoon, have a principle-based lesson, and keep moving forward with the app. And then alongside, to make it near the education and the preventative care, which we have already created.
Awesome. I love that. So how much have you invested to get it to where it is today?
So to get it all trademarked and developed and everything, it has been a $500,000 investment.
Good for you. No messing around here. And you, because you have the other businesses, you've been able to afford that kind of a startup cost.
Well, yes. And we have gotten a few seed donor just at the very beginning. And so we have just a little bit of that. And then we have been able to self-do it. And everybody that's helped us build it is getting units in the company. So everybody that's built it is building their futures as well.
Okay, so you have given up some equity.
Yes.
Is that in the form of stock options? How have you done that?
We're staying in LLC as long as we possibly can before we become an IOP or before we go public. And so it's considered units instead of stock options. But yes, that's how we've done it.
Okay, yeah. And so those units are already owned, or are they still like in the process of being earned by those that are working for them. So for the reason I ask, Tami, is because if you say, hey, I'm going to give you 5% of your business of my business to you, and they come and work for you, but they quit after 2 months, do they get that 5% or do they lose it, right?
They lose it. It's earned. And so you have to finish the contract and then you have gotten it, or you are in the process of finishing your contract. But we have a contract with everyone.
Okay. Taking a quick break from the episode. Sorry to interrupt, but I have to take a second and thank the great team at Pod Allies that helps me produce this podcast. Startups with Stu is not an easy undertaking. It takes a lot of work and team power to get this thing done. So the team I use for my podcast, podallies.com, go check them out. If you are considering a podcast, if you've thought you have a dream for a show and you want to go make it happen, go to podallies.com and book a strategy call today. I promise you won't regret it. Speaking of the show or shows, let's get back to Startups with Stu in this episode. Forgive my interruption, but if you're interested, go check out podallies.com.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I think Tami's really wise to have done the legal work up front for the trademarks and for the different things that she's doing to give away equity and ownership. You need to put that stuff in writing, and there's no other way to do it. Absolutely. It is a cost. It's not free. I was blown away by my last attorney's bill for something I've been working on. But you've got to find a way to pay that and take care of yourself that way for the long run. So good work there.
Thank you.
If you do spend $500,000, you got to find a way to go make a lot more than $500,000 to be glad you did it too, right?
Absolutely. In fact, where we're talking with the Senate, we're trying to get into some of the education in Idaho department, because once we have a government contract, it's easier to get money and you lose less equity. So that was one of the things we're going to try to do, because it's time to animate and start making partnerships and licensing deals. So those are some of the things we're trying to do. But once again, it's that next step, right? So yes, we're talking with state agencies, and yes, we're trying to talk with other entrepreneurs that are like-minded, and we need to go to that next level. And you're right. You said that it's a mission for me, but I also understand no margin, no mission. And I also knew that it was going to take a hot minute to do this right, simply because of the magnitude of what we're trying to build. And I didn't want it to be flawed enough that it could hurt people. Yeah,
no, that making sure that you've taken care of the science behind it is really important. And I admire you for that, because I think there's a lot of folks that move forward too fast without that consideration. So Tami, in the education world, schools have budget for things like this. Right. And at the elementary school level, you can go principal by principal. And they will usually be in the decision maker at the elementary school level. You can go teacher by teacher, but usually that means get the teacher excited. They'll help you get the principal excited. Principal's going to get the district excited, and the district office is going to write you the check for 1 year. The struggle with that is that means once a year you're going to get one check. And so there's a lot of the year that you have to cash flow otherwise. So that's something to solve for, and then to figure out like what's the right amount to bill. One of the types of individuals I would go get in touch with is someone that has good experience selling for a company called Imagine Learning out of Utah. Imagine Learning is in different spaces. They're not a competitor to you, but they do sell directly to elementary schools. And by the way, the number of elementary schools in this country is astronomical. Just the high schools is like 30,000, right? And so say that the average high school has 4 elementary schools feeding it. That's not even close to the right number, but then you're talking over 100,000 elementary schools to go sell to. So just that one opportunity with your product could make you $1 billion business. Right.
Great.
So I think it's wise to to keep identifying who the best buyer is that allows you to sell the most, the fastest, and that pays the best, and then go focus in on making sure your product fits their needs the most. The reason that matters is because, so at StuCamp, we created a digital marketing product, and it was a digital marketing education product, right? Not actually to help you do digital marketing, but to learn digital marketing. And I talked to friends about the idea, and most of them were like, Stu, Digital Marketing Institute, Simply Learn, there are great organizations already doing this. Like, you're not onto something new. But what I found, and what they didn't realize, was that within higher education, professors were not choosing to use Digital Marketing Institute or Simply Learn or YouTube or any of the other platforms where you could learn, because it was replacing the professor. It didn't give the professor what the professor needed to be the one that was actually doing the instructing. And so we created a platform and product that met the needs of the professor very well. It had a professor platform that gave them the gradings and information they needed for how far along students were on quizzes and reading and all that stuff. And no one else did that for them, right? So we were giving them something that they couldn't get elsewhere. You mentioned a subscription model earlier. That's great. Just don't forget that if your target market becomes elementary teachers, then they're going to have specific needs, and the subscription model, they may not be as excited about it because they can't go and force parents to go and subscribe to something, right? So in that case, it's like, go learn from Imagine Learning about how they sell to schools. Then also go and look at platforms like abcyeah.com. ABC Yeah has done a very good job of getting teachers excited and using the program. Parents at home are using it as well. I would bet that for every one ABC Yeah that has succeeded, there's probably 1,000 different other education websites that have not taken off like they have. So case studying different competitors or like companies is a really wise process to go through. For sure.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. And we will. We've done some of that, but then we also understood it was a one-time thing too. So we've tried that. That's also why we're in the juvenile justice, because they need the rewrite, they need the healing. They seem to be the children that are struggling with those types of things seem to be the ones that need it the most. So those are the reasons why we've targeted those government agencies too. So, but yes, that's the hardest part for me, is its emotions, which is the whole human family, and creating product to go to and understand my market. So I didn't even know about Imagine Learning and ABC Yeah. I haven't even looked at them or studied them. So I will do both of those things. Thank you. And
cool.
We want to find that market. We thought that the other one, the juvenile justice, has been, or just like children that are struggling, have been our target market for a moment. So that's what we found. But once again, I don't have the margin yet. So I can't pretend to be the expert.
Well, no, and that's what all you're doing is telling me, like, hey, I'm studying this, that I'm figuring it out. Here's what we've tried so far, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's exactly what you have to do, right? Like, you've got to go and kiss a lot of frogs. You got to go and try different things and see what lands, see who has budget, see who is thirsty for this stuff and who feels like they don't get it. So another thing that's really important if you're going to go big, right? If you're doing local business and you're going to sell cars, then you just have to ask yourself, like, well, how many car owners are in my local community and how many car dealerships are there? Is there room for me to have my piece of that pie? And then you've done the market research you need to do, right? It's pretty basic. You don't have to differentiate much. Like, there's just a demand for cars. And so if you also make cars available, as long as they're the kind of cars people want, like, you've done your job, right? Well,
my husband says there's a butt for every seat.
There's a but for every seat. Yeah. When it comes to education at a bigger scale, there is already education that exists. And there's so many schools out there that they're trying, they see this as a problem. They're already working to solve it. And you can already find curriculum about this sort of subject, right? But so then the question is like, what are you going to do that's going to make it unique enough that people go, oh, I should pay attention and learn if this is something I want. And then, oh, I paid attention and I like it so much I have to have it, right? In my case, we had an e-textbook. The original StuCant idea was an e-textbook that we would update every year. And then we added a simulation. We took them both to market kind of simultaneously. The simulation actually was done first. So we launched with that. And it took us a little while, but what we figured out and learned was that more people requested early access or requested a demo of the simulation, but more people bought the e-textbook. They wouldn't have paid any attention to us if I went to them and said, hey, we have another textbook, because textbooks existed already. What didn't exist was the simulation. So we could go to them and say, hey, come check out our simulation. And then they'd buy the book, or they would buy the simulation and not buy the book sometimes. But what happened was we got their attention because we had something unique, new, and different enough that we could turn their head. So as you go to these teachers, let's say that's the right path, then you have to go with the question of like, what is it that you're going to say that's going to get them to say, hey, that's unique, that's different, I better pay attention. And I don't know what that is. So you tell me, and maybe you're going, oh, I don't know what that is yet either. Tell me, what do we got? What do you got for there?
I think teachers wish they knew what the pulse of the classroom was when they get back in from recess, because recess is when everything happens. And with our characters, it's easy for a kid to just hit the way they're feeling and sit down, and a teacher knows exactly where the class is before she even starts trying to manage it. So from a classroom management sense, it helps you directly understand the child's needs and what you might be in for the rest of that period of time.
Yeah, I think teachers go, well, Tami, like, I can feel the room.
They can.
Like, I know there's storm, right? Like, I know the thunderstorm has arrived when there was a fight at recess and Johnny has a scowl on his face. Like, do I need that? What's the answer to that? Like, I know there is one.
Absolutely, because the child, as soon as they label their storm, they stop using the survival part of their brain and the commander part of their brain, which is trying to protect them, and they start actually using their functional IQ. So by just being able to label the storm, you're automatically calming a child down, and then you get a pulse of the recess so they feel heard, and it's easier to create a stronger educational space.
Okay, so the kids come in from recess. Paint a picture for me of what that looks like.
Well, with the test that we had, the classroom that actually had the characters, they were doing the cycles to each other in the playground. So they would come in much better off than the other ones because they were already using some of the tools. But how it looks is, as the children, they normally line up, and as they line up, the teacher watches them, and they're just hitting the poster as they walk through the classroom door. But by hitting the poster and explaining how they're feeling, it automatically expresses. Dan Siegel teaches, if you name it, you can tame it. So if you can name your emotion, you can tame your emotion. So by just naming the emotion, the children are ready to learn. And then the teacher also knows what storm is prevalent all the time. Which storm is that child constantly worrying about? Is it fear? Is it trauma? Is it rage? Like, they actually understand what is more characteristic for that child too, so they can help make better guidance plans and stuff with their families.
So, okay, I'm Johnny. I walked through the door and I am mad.
Right.
I did not have a good recess.
Right.
Timmy picked me last. Okay, whatever it may be, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
it happens all the time.
So as Johnny walks in the room, what is Johnny's experience? You said he touches a poster board and it like points to where he's at on the board?
He just points to the emotion he's feeling. So he would probably hit rage, anxiety, explosion. Our storm cloud that is so mad and worried and frustrated that it comes out like tears, rain or thunder, verbal abuse, or lightning hitting something or hitting someone. And so he would hit Ray, which automatically gave his brain permission to stop being in fight or flight and start using the front part of your brain because he expressed his emotion.
Yeah, that's so cool. So there's a poster that the teachers can have in the classroom.
Yes.
Okay. So this is here's a little insight for you. With a go-to-market strategy, one of the things that you have to identify is what gets people in the door without a lot of commitment from them, right? So Uber was a genius with this. Every time that you shared the app with a friend early days, you got a free ride when your friend used their free ride. That made the friend create an account, didn't cost them anything, and they got a free ride that didn't cost them anything, right? So they were in the game for so little, for so long, that then it was like, wow, that was such a good experience. Yeah, I'm going to keep paying to have that kind of experience, right? So for your business, if you're going to scale, identifying the thing that people will say, I want this and I want it bad enough, I'll tell a friend, or I like it so much, I'll tell a friend, right? So if this poster board can be printed and shipped out to every teacher, elementary teacher, or you pick like 2 markets you're going to target at first, you ship it, and then you follow up with an in-person visit, and you say, hey, did you get your poster? And you get a teacher, or you go get an individual teacher to commit to using the poster, period. Like, that's it. It's all they have to do. Then, like, really quickly, I would think you could use that poster to get other teachers to say, hey, I want my free poster because I want to try this in my classroom, right? And then you've got all of them using a poster, and that's just a piece of it. If they want the rest of it, there's a QR code in the corner and they can scan to create their paid account, or to, like, I'm just thinking out loud of ideas for you here, and hopefully it's getting your wheels turning. But finding something that gets you in every classroom in America for free will allow you to make money off of all of those classrooms later on. So again, that's like more upfront investment, and that's a part of how this thing works. But you gotta always be coming up with new ideas of how you're gonna. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You don't always have to keep coming up with new ideas. You have to until you find one that works. Then don't keep coming up with new ideas. Do the one that works, right?
That's actually a problem of an entrepreneur, isn't it? It's always, we have ideas. We have lots of ideas, but we have to stay committed to the ones that work.
Right. Yeah. 100%. So, hopefully these are some good ideas that are going to help. I wanted to share with you, something else that stuck out to me. There are a few individuals that come to my mind quickly that have done what you're trying to do, and they've done it well. So, Stephen R. Covey has the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? And he became known for the 7 habits. He made a lot of money off of just book sales because of how wildly successful the message was of his 7 habits. Gretchen Rubin is another awesome person that I think has done a good job of what you're doing. She has what's called the 4 tendencies. She spoke at an Inc. 5000 conference. The very first year we made the list, we went and celebrated in San Antonio, Texas. And we were actually at the event. She spoke, and I have never forgotten the 4 tendencies ever since. I've never forgotten it. The book, the message, I've shared it with friends and family. I love her message for the world. And she's done a good job of being like, this is my mission to share this message. So she's a good case study as well to go, what has she done that got her on a stage as big as the Inc. 5000 stage to speak to all of those founders? You need to go and find your people that have been there and done it and go, what do I do to emulate? How do I do what they've done well? And then what parts do I not want to do that I didn't like about their approach? Because you can also make sure, like every founder, this part comes very natural to make it their own and do it their own way.
Yes. I appreciate that. I have not heard of it.
Gretchen Rubin, Rubin.
Okay.
Highly recommend the book, The Four Tendencies. It's a phenomenal book. So go check it out. With the time that we have left, what other questions do you have for me? And I'm fine to go a little longer than I normally would on a recording here because I was a little late getting things started. Tami, any other questions that you're like, I really hope to learn this from Stu while we were together?
You did a digital marketing company and you created a demand. And did you hire salespeople or did you spend money in advertising? How did you get that next step? Because now the program's done. I'm good standing on stage and teaching in front of a lot of people. I'm also pretty good at one-on-one behind the chair, but the going in and putting my heart on the line and saying, here, buy this program, when it's not even my wheelhouse, hairdressing, I got you. But this other stuff is hard. Where did you know to invest and what was the next right step?
So with the money that I raised in the very first round, $275,000 in seed funding. And I used that money to pay for the salary of a discounted salary. Both of these first great men that I hired, they took a pay cut from where they were, but they knew that there was upside in the ownership. And they all had good paydays when I had my big payday. And it worked out for us that they took less money. But I used the money to pay a marketing guy to help me generate leads and to take care of everything with the website and try to make me look really good, and not just good, but look like I was as good as the $1 billion Pearson and the $1 billion McGraw-Hill, who are two of our main competitors.
Got it.
And Cengage, like there were some main competitors. We needed to look as good as them. Our marketing guy helped us do that. Then I hired a sales rep, and he was on base plus commission plus some small ownership. Turned out he didn't work for me. From like the beginning, he sold too slowly, and I needed him to sell more and faster. I hired a second sales rep, and he outsold the first sales rep like 3-1. So I recommend for anyone that needs to hire sales talent that you don't hire one, you always hire two. Because if the first one doesn't perform well, you don't know if it's you and your product and your business or if it's the sales rep. But if you had to hire two and they both stink, you know you still got things to work on with your business, most likely. And really you need like 10 to really know and get good data. But the first two can really do it, like help tell a story. And so when the second one came in and outsold the first one 3-1, we just weren't in a financial position to keep both of them anymore. And so we had to let the first one go. But guess what? He had already earned himself a small portion of his ownership, and he got to have a mega payday. And I was so happy 8 years later to send him an email saying, hey, because you jumped on board with me, because you took a risk and changed your career, like I got this for you. And it was really cool to do that. But yeah, I think hiring good marketing, hiring good sales, people that are on your team for the first two, not like outsource stuff, because the outsource stuff comes and goes, and you need people that can stick with you when stuff doesn't work right up front.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
It is. It's actually very helpful.
If you can find someone proven, be careful. It's good to have proven team members. Like I mentioned Imagine Learning earlier. If you can find someone who's at Imagine Learning and they're really good at sales for Imagine Learning, it doesn't automatically mean they're going to be good at sales for you. And the reason is your brand isn't a known brand yet. So if they're really good at selling Imagine Learning, it might be because they're really good with relationships and a large book of business they're already working from, but they're not good at hustling the brand new. So you need to try your best to determine that and then hire accordingly. But it's probably best to get information and knowledge from the Imagine Learning guy and then hire some gal that's really amazing, that has a lot of hustle and she's hungry, that maybe hasn't sold in the education space at all yet, as an example.
Okay. So much.
There's so much to do, right? And I think you've got what it takes. You know what it takes. Keep building the right team of people so you don't have to burn yourself to the place where you go, I just can't do it anymore. I need to focus on my family and my other businesses. Like, make sure you get the right people around you and be fast to make changes if they're not right. And that's hard sometimes.
That's real hard. Actually, I think that's what has taken it longer to develop, is because I wasn't fast to get rid of the wrong people.
Yeah. And it's not that they're the wrong people in your life.
No.
They were wrong for the opportunity. They were wrong for your business, but it doesn't mean they're the wrong people or that they aren't good people. It just means you need to find the people that are going to help you go win at your mission, which is like what matters most.
Absolutely. And you're right. They're great people, but they just weren't right for this project.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Tami Hymas, folks, InUPowers.com. Go check it out and help her spread her message to the world. If you know an elementary teacher or a preschool teacher that might want to help their kids start to understand their feelings more, go check out InUPowers.com and let's go cheer on Tami Hymas from a distance now.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yes.
Hey, founders, entrepreneurs, investors, and other listeners of Startups with Stu. Thank you for listening to this episode today. As I mentioned at the beginning, as I mentioned in the middle, I want to take a second again at the end and say, if you haven't yet and you're considering a podcast, go check out podallies.com. They sure help me a lot with the show. And I am so grateful for all that they do to help me accomplish Startups with Stu and get it out to the world so we can help more founders and take your startup to the moon. Go check out podallies.com and podup.com if you're interested in podcasting at any level.
Thanks for joining me on Startups with Stu. We have big goals to help millions of entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to share it with someone else that needs to hear it, or leave a review. Remember, success is within reach for those who dare to dream big and take action. Until next time, keep pushing forward on your entrepreneurial journey.